So today, we're going to talk about a really massive shift in the world of tech leadership, specifically the role of the Chief Information Officer. It has gone from being this kind of back office technical job to something way more central, way more strategic. So, what exactly is the CIO's new mission as we look toward 2025? Let's dive in. And this, right here, really nails the heart of that change. The CIO of yesterday, they were the technologists. Their job was to manage costs and pretty much just keep the lights on. But today, oh, that's a totally different story. The modern CIO is a business strategist focused on driving real value. They're literally tasked with building the future of the company. It's a huge shift from just managing operations to actually leading strategy. So how do they actually do that? Well, the first big mission is all about building the digital engine. This means taking the company's core IT infrastructure and flipping it from being a simple cost center into a powerhouse that actually enables innovation and makes the business more agile. Yeah, and this quote just hits the nail on the head. The days of thinking about servers and networks as, just the plumbing of the company, those are long gone. Today, that infrastructure is a core strategic asset. It's the foundation for everything: speed, scale, and any real competitive advantage. Now, what's really cool is how CIOs are getting that agility. They're using something called composable architecture. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like Lego blocks. Instead of one giant clunky system, you build with all these smaller interchangeable parts. So when the business needs to pivot or try something new, you don't have to start over. You just reassemble the blocks. It is an absolute game changer for moving fast. And if you want a perfect real-world example of this infrastructure challenge, look no further than SAP. A ton of companies run on their older systems, but support for that ends in 2027. Look at this timeline. By the end of this year, a huge majority of customers still haven't made the switch. For a CIO, this isn't just some tech upgrade. It's a massive strategic headache with a deadline that you just can't move. All right, let's move on to the second mission: defending the digital fortress. And the subtitle here is so important: battling a continuous pandemic. That perfectly frames cybersecurity for what it is now, not a project you finish, but a constant, never-ending state of defense. And the stakes, oh, they couldn't be higher. I mean, just look at this number: 72%. In one single year, almost 3/4 of all businesses got hit with a ransomware incident. It's really not a question of if an attack is going to happen anymore, it's when and how ready you are to deal with it. And this quote from a tech CTO really drives that point home. The new golden rule is to assume breach. You have to work from the assumption that the bad guys are already in or they're about to be. This completely flips your strategy from just trying to build a wall to focusing on finding them, responding, and being resilient when they do get in. So how do you actually live in that kind of world? The answer is what we call the zero trust mandate. It breaks down into 3 pretty simple steps. First, assume breach, which means you trust nobody by default. Second, verify explicitly: every user, every device, every time. And third, grant least privilege. People only get access to exactly what they need for as long as they need it and nothing more. Okay, so we've built the engine and we've defended the fortress. The CIO's next big mission is all about creating value. And that means harnessing data and AI, turning that fire hose of raw information into actual strategic insight that can move the business forward. Oh, wow. If you want to see urgency, look no further than this generative AI explosion. Gartner projects that right now, in 2024, less than 5% of enterprise software has Gen AI features. But by 2026, that's just 2 years from now, that number is expected to skyrocket to over 80%. This isn't some slow-moving trend. It's a tidal wave. So, all this crazy growth leads to the one big question on every CIO's mind. How in the world do you tame the AI beast? How do you tap into all of its amazing power without opening up your organization to a whole bunch of new, unacceptable risks? Well, the answer really comes down to building a solid foundation for what we call responsible AI. You need strong governance to oversee how it's used, you have to actively work to mitigate bias in your algorithms, and you've got to ensure privacy is baked in from the start. But underneath all of that, the real foundation is data quality. Because if your data is garbage, any AI you build on top of it is just going to be a house of cards. Okay, let's talk about our fourth and final mission, which really brings everything back home to the people. It's all about empowering the modern workforce, and that means designing a totally new digital experience for every single employee. And this chart right here shows you exactly why this is so critical. The numbers don't lie. A massive 63% of employees want a hybrid model. The old way of working, everyone in the office 5 days a week, it's just gone. So the CIO's job isn't just to support an office building anymore, it's to enable a flexible, scattered workforce to be productive and creative no matter where they are. This has really sparked a revolution in how we even measure if IT is doing a good job. We're moving away from SLAs, service level agreements, to what are called XLAs, or experience level agreements. So the question is no longer just, hey, is the system up and running? The new, much more important question is the system actually helping our people succeed? It completely shifts the focus from just technical performance to real human impact. So when you put it all together, building that digital engine, defending the fortress, harnessing AI, empowering your people, you land on this new definition. At the end of the day, the modern CIO is a business leader. Full stop. Their job is to translate technology into tangible value, clear strategy, and real sustainable growth. Which kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on. With a mission that's so focused on strategy, on value, on building what's next, maybe we should be asking, is the CIO's real title now Chief Innovation Officer? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us.